Bad boy entertainer. I'm a bad boy entertainer. Bad boy entertainer. My DJ kids the version online, sit for the rhythm on the track. More time there's not only back, bad in the back of the rap. Listen my dance, right in the lap. I'm a bad boy entertainer, older root boy originator. Old white, DJ kids the version online, sit for the rhythm on the track. More time there's not only back, only back, only back, only back, only back, only back, back, back. Older root boy originator. Originator. DJ kids the version online, sit for the rhythm on the track. More time there's not only back, proud of the fact that I'm black. Listen my tail, smile in my back. I'm a bad boy entertainer, older root boy originator. Old one, nice boy, my DJ kids the version online, sit for the rhythm on the track. More time there's not only back, proud of the fact that I'm black. Listen my tail, smile in my back. I'm a bad boy entertainer, older root boy originator. Dirty people now.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. See you guys. Thanks for joining. Just mess around now, I was a bit behind. Right. Just wanted to listen to Biden's fairly well speech last night. I missed it, so I thought I'd play it on here. But I thought to kick off we'd see how we got there, shall we?
And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be Vice President, but I think she was not qualified to be President. So let's start there. We got to just remember who the hell we are. We're the United States of America. Yeah.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first Vice President, first Black woman, served with a Black president. I'm proud of the role of the first Black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do.
Listen, but guess what? They want to.
Gonna miss Joe a little
bit. The guy
bit.
we're running against, what's his name? Donald Dump or Donald, whatever. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they've raised $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with
Trump's face.
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew
Good
all
boy,
the
Joe.
And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why? Yes. So, Joe, I'm going to hand it over to you because we have such a great group of supporters here. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've been here the whole time. I see it. I see that badge here.
No clue where he is. Bless him. Jill was in health nanny assistant mode.
Republic of Brazil, accompanied by the Director General of the International Women's Organization.
President Biden, can you hear me? You can? Yes, good. And so...
My face is in the way. Where you going, Joe? So our ex-Prime Minister stood next to him, man. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Was he just turning his feet off then, do you think? Oh my word! What's he pointing at? Do you know he got special shoes after that? America.
North Carolina announced its $100 incentive today. Places that have offered the $100. That'd be really good. I'd go back and get vaccinated 3 times. But all kidding aside, offered the $100 to get vaccination, have seen an uptick of 25% on daily vaccination rates. I caught part of President Putin's press conference, and he talked about the need for us to be able to have some kind of modus operandi where we dealt with making sure the Arctic was, in fact, a free zone. So-called Great Recession. The president asked me to be in charge of managing that piece, then President Trump. Excuse me, Freudian slip. That was the last president. He caused, anyway, that was President Obama when I was vice president. There is some movement, and I don't want to, well, maybe choose my words. There's some movement. There's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas. At the meeting, if you don't have a game plan, he may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
To what extent has Vladimir Putin been weakened by recent events? It's hard to tell, but he's clearly losing the war in Iraq. He's losing the war at home. And he is...
As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea. And increase economic growth. Folks, imagine what we can do next.
Yeah, kind of saw that, but there is no ceasefire anymore.
Pause.
4 more years! 4 more years! Calls and the erection is to storm Capitol Hill patriots. He says if re-elected, he wants, quote, every one of them pardoned.
I'll give you another 2 inches. All right, what am I doing now? My jersey? I want to know who the hell Nathan's haberdasher is. I like his dress, man, I tell you. Looking good, Nathan.
Glitch in the Matrix, look. What the hell is he doing?
This simple yet brilliant trick.
This simple yet simple trick. Right, let's have a listen to his fairly well speech, shall we? Okay. Let's have it. Let's have me in the White House with him, shall we? There we go.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed.
Did you?
Because that's how it should be.
working
Thank you,
together as
Jerry.
Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an iron worker
Thanks, Adrian.
installed beam after beam,
I'll take the
day
first
after
one.
day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage.
Oh.
She's on the march, and she literally moves. She was built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering marvel.
What is he talking
The
about?
Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet through good times and tough times,
Hey, Doodle.
we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force. A nation of immigrants came to build a better life. A nation holding the torch of the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world,
Experiment.
that all of us are created equal. That
So
all of us
dumbass.
deserve to be treated with
I had an
dignity,
idea.
justice, and fairness. That democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible.
Yeah.
Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power. But whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example. Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society. The presidency, the Congress, the courts, a free and independent press. Institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances. It may not be perfect, but it's maintained our democracy for nearly 250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years, our democracy has held strong. And every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris. It's been the honor of my life to see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic. The heroism of service members and first responders keeping us safe. The determination of advocates standing up for our rights and our freedoms instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis. We inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products. And together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history. From new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, And now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs. Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low, meeting our sacred obligation to over 1 million veterans so far who are exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know, it will take time to feel the full impact of all we've done together. But the seeds are planted, and they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we've created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration, a single term. More people have health care than ever before. And overseas, we've strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free. And we pulled ahead of our competition with China. And so much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish the incoming administration success, because I want America to succeed. That's why I've held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example. I have no doubt that America is in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence.
Yeah, and you're one of them. You're the ringleader, weirdo.
Our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. Just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. You know, they were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. And we've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that is exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules. Pay their fair share of taxes. So much is at stake. Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of the world. And the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working. Creating jobs and industries in the future. Now, we've proven we don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both. Powerful forces want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interest for power and profit. We must not be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster. There's no time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. You know, his farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. 6 decades later,
not reading that off
I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risks for our economy and our security.
This is way of going after Elon.
For humanity. Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI can spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work and how we protect our nation. We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever that the people must govern. And as the land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI. You know, in the years ahead, it'll help to be.
Thinking at me.
It's going to be up to the president, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaigns contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time limit, term limit, time and term, for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that
So why do you do any of this stuff while you were actually in charge?
From crimes
hang on.
that he or she
You were never
commits
in charge.
while in office.
Dumbass.
The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute, and it shouldn't be. And in a democracy, there's another danger to the concentration of power and wealth. It erodes the sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot.
Sent you the link.
We have to stay engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating. A fair shot is what makes America America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot. Not a guarantee, but just a fair shot. An even playing field. Going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth, remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America do we believe anything is possible. Like a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claremont, Delaware, sitting behind this desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic of America. It's all around us. Upstairs in the residence of the White House,
Shut up, you
I
old
walked
bag.
by a painting of the Statue of Liberty I don't know how many times. In the painting, there's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm.
Is he going on about the
statue
Statue of
holds
Liberty?
the torch.
Something happened.
It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation and the power of the American people. There's a story of a veteran, a son of an immigrant, whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame.
Yeah, there's no way you remembered all this.
Said
You
of the
kidding me?
Statue of Liberty,
It just said,
quote, speaks a
minute
solid
ago.
universal language,
End of quote.
one of hope. Anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand. Yes, we sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm,
my audio all right?
to stand the
Yes,
test
sounds
of
right.
time. Constant struggle.
But he's polished a few torches in his day.
Short
right?
distance between peril and possibility.
But what I believe
They sucked a few cocks
is
as
the
well.
America of our dreams is always closer than we think.
Like I said, the
It's
ones who
up to
voted for
us
him know
to
who
make
they
our
are.
dreams come true.
Yeah.
Let me close by stating my gratitude to so many people, to the members of my administration, as well as public service and first responders
Elon
across the country
voted for this
and
Joker.
around the world. Thank you
first
for
time,
stepping
yeah.
up to serve. To our service members,
I just
and their
don't get it, dude.
families.
Nobody looks at track
It's
records.
been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief. And of course to Kamala and our incredible partner, historic Vice President. She and Doug have become like family. And to me, family's everything.
Yeah, right.
My deepest appreciation.
Yeah,
Our amazing First Lady who's
partying your
in
son is
Dallas
everything.
today.
Yeah.
For our entire family.
No talk
You're the
about
love of
Trump.
my
Keeping your
life.
corrupt
Life of
family
my
safe
love.
is everything.
My eternal thanks to you, the American people.
Thank you for all the money
After
you've
50
given me and
years
my
of public
family.
service,
Go fuck off. Yeah,
I
come
give
back
you
here
my
to scram,
word.
buddy. We're waiting for you.
I still believe in the
Yeah.
idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard.
What?
May you all be the keeper of the flame.
Dumbass.
May you keep the faith. I love America.
No, you don't. You
You
hate
love
it.
it too. God bless you.
He
God
despises.
protect our troops.
He hates
loves
your
China.
country, dude.
The only country he loves is China. I'll put money on it.
Because they pay him.
Exactly.
So it is. That's it. He's done. So, have you seen any of the behind-the-scenes pictures?
No, I saw him. No.
He's sat on a cushion.
Really?
Yeah, so funny, dude.
He's such a fucking joke. And then, and now he's trying to take credit for the ceasefire. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's trying to take credit for that. So now Netanyahu's saying, well, hang on a minute. Maybe we won't have a
Exactly.
ceasefire.
He needs to shut the fuck up. He's not. You're gone, bro. 4 days, you're gone. You can't save your legacy at this point. You are fucked. You are the worst president we've ever had, ever. And it's not. I don't even think it's close.
He is the worst president like America's ever had in my lifetime. I've been here for 50 years. You know what I mean? You off.
Exactly. You're older than me. So, I mean, who's really worse than this fucking piece of shit? They kicked him off the ballot.
No.
That's hilarious to me. He's so bad. They didn't allow him to run again.
He's so bitter about it as well. I can't find the behind the scenes. I saw it earlier on. He's sat on a cushion and he's got a box of tissues there behind the desk. It's, what is behind Biden's bitter farewell? Let's check it out.
Bring in chief political analyst Britt Hume, co-host of The Five and co-anchor of America's Newsroom, Dana Perino, and chief political anchor Brett Baer.
Brett
How do you think
Baer.
that farewell address went, Britt?
Well, I think he did the best he could with what he had to work with, but it's a difficult situation because the public has clearly rejected his record.
Because he sucked.
In fact, we had this poll out tonight of our own that showed that most people thought that the Trump victory was a token not so much of Trump's popularity, but of the disaffection with Joe Biden. So he was trying in part, I think, tonight to try to restore his image as someone who was an effective president.
Look at that
it's a
guy
hard
now,
sell,
Larry.
and it comes at a time when I think the public is largely
Slung Kamala up there.
he faded away in that debate that we all saw. Then he was gone, too late probably in the eyes of Democrats for them to have mounted an effective campaign for a new candidate, and lost the election decisively. Not a landslide in the usual terms, but he lost decisively, and he's been elbowed out of the center of things now and all the weeks since the election. So I think this was an attempt, but I'd be surprised if the number of people watching it would match the kind of thing he might have hoped for.
This, Brett, did not seem to be a happy farewell. He seemed bitter. about people who scorned him, perhaps Pelosi mentioning the stock trading ban that he never really pushed until he was betrayed by Nancy, blasting the oligarchs who kind of also, in his mind, betrayed him this past summer after he decided he wasn't going to run, or that decision was made for him. What did you make about these warnings?
Well, it's interesting, Jesse. He harkened back, as I mentioned, to President Dwight D. Eisenhower's farewell address in 1961, talking about a military-industrial complex. He started talking about the threat from an oligarchy and the concentration of power and wealth having an impact on U.S. policy. You know, it's interesting that Democrats raised a lot more money and spent a lot more money on that election, almost 2-1 over the Trump campaign. And so there was a concentration of money on the Democratic side. It was just what they were selling was not selling to the American people. I thought, obviously he was trying to put rose-colored glasses on some of the things that the administration did. You have to give credit for a bipartisan effort on infrastructure and other things. There were real critics of a lot of those pieces of legislation, but he did push them through Congress. But you have to realize that the result of that election is a complete repudiation of going a totally different direction than the Biden administration and the Harris administration would have.
That's like going in and killing a couple people and being like,
that he still could have
but the door was open.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I think no one.
I happen to have a gun in my hand.
27 debate.
Dana, are we looking at a failed presidency? That this is a one-term guy? This is complete repudiation by the American people.
The people that are fucking
33% approval
screwed
rating.
him, so it's his
Many
own fault.
people see this as a failure.
So you and I sit together every day on the 5, and you know that I try to be really nice. And I intended to find something that I could say, wow, that was great. So news of the day at the top, understandable. Big soaring attempt at a rhetorical push for unity. I'm like, okay, I'm following. And then, like, what in the world was he talking about? For example, when he talks about dark money, does he not remember that just last week he gave the Medal of Honor, or Medal of Freedom Award to George Soros? They also, he talked about the fact that they had the biggest economic.
Dude, honestly, it's hilarious. It's so like corrupt.
Which was the entire premise.
It's so messed up. It's hilarious.
That's the most hypocritical shit I've ever seen, bro.
There was another poll.
I know. That's why it's so funny.
They asked about 18 issues. Which ones are you feeling better about? Only 1 out of 18 did people feel better about, and it was gay, lesbians, and trans issues. So he's sitting there talking about all of these things that he's done, and I'm just like, this rings hollow. To me, it felt like the speechwriters have already left the building, and that they asked ChatGPT to write a speech for Joe Biden in which he doesn't remember that he was president for the last 4 years. If you ask people, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? The answer is no, except for maybe the solar companies and the Delta smelt.
No,
that was
the
mean,
answer
Dana.
is.
Wow,
I was born
Britt,
middle class
I mean,
I tried.
Dana is meaner than you are. What is happening here?
I'll answer the question you posed to her, whether this was a failed presidency, and I think the answer, sad to say, unmistakably, is yes, it is. It has failed on a number of counts.
At least I can give her that.
On foreign policy,
that word from her.
beginning with the
holistically
problematic withdrawal from Afghanistan. Which I think
like
great many
45
people
times
feel
in one
was the
fucking
signal to Vladimir Putin and perhaps others that their aggression would be unmet by the kind of resistance they might once have expected. And that gave us the Ukraine war, the kind of on again, off again support for Israel, which was, ended up with the administration trying to beat its Middle East, only really solid Middle East ally into submission on and stopping the war. From the beginning of that conflict, begun by Hamas, the principal goal of this administration, even as Israel was plainly winning, was to stop the fighting. That now looks like it's come to pass at a very late stage in the game. But I don't think that was good foreign policy, and I don't think the signal it sent to the rest of the world was welcome either. And indeed, Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, admitted recently that every time there was distance between the U.S. and Israel, as there was repeatedly, it got harder and harder to deal with Hamas on any kind of a peace resolution or a ceasefire. So, and then of course, you never heard any discussion of the biggest problem Americans face day in and day out in their daily lives, and that was the extraordinary inflation that we endured in this country. And that was brought about, I think, in no small measure by the wild spending on top of the spending that had already happened at the beginning. That was at the beginning of this administration, and it continued, and everybody felt it. And still feels it to this day. So despite growth and a good stock market and all that, Americans do not like this economy.
All right. Man was living in his own world. Not a great listener like I am. That is for sure. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you all tomorrow on television. We really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's watch some more of his gaffes. I like watching that.
They should do the inauguration at fucking Mar-a-Lago.
Why?
They should, to make sure he's safe.
It's not going to be safe no matter where it is it? Realistically.
Hopefully there's, you know, scoping out the area, making it safe now. They said.
Look, dude, they're probably setting up the area so that it's easier to shoot him. The people that are in charge right now are probably setting up sniper posts all over the place, like renting them out to fucking.
Okay, but here's the problem now for them at this point in the stage, right? Now, if they would have hit them one of the two times, you know, that they already tried, that's one thing. But on the 20th, right? Like this guy's done. Like this administration is done. People are already fucking out. So. You shoot Trump, J.D. Vance becomes president. You shoot him. What do you mean?
Well, until he's sworn in, he's still only the president elect.
So what? They're gonna shoot him in. They're gonna shoot him before he's sworn in. No.
Well, they could.
No.
They could try. They'd blow the fucker up. Something. I'm telling you, dude. They're not just gonna let.
Then you're gonna kill. Then you're gonna kill everybody else there.
Well, I don't think they really care, do they? Look what they're doing already on the way out the door.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Setting fire to California and like, I don't know, sending like whatever money they can to fucking Ukraine. Like, make sure their own pockets are lined. They don't care. They're just setting fire to the place on the way out, dude.
I just hope all the sick, fucked up shit they've done for the past 4 years, this new administration will show us and say, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, because that's what we deserve. And if Trump's gonna fucking release the JFK and this and that, at least he can, you know, tell us what the fuck these guys been doing with our money for the past 4 years. Even though we have an idea, show us the fucking proof.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Michigan, I'm not surprised. They probably don't want to see. They probably don't want to show JD and his wife around the house because obviously they haven't finished burglarizing the place yet. And they don't want like the incomings to see what they're stealing. But they take everything out.
But you're right. I think a lot of celebrities, Hollywood is seeing that like you fuck around with the elites and shit. You're not. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how many homes you have. They'll come after you.
Of course they will. It doesn't matter who you are, dude. And in fact, the more money you've got and the more popular you are, the harder they go after you. Do you know what I mean?
It's easier. Well, remember I told you that we're not going to hear anything about these Diddy tapes, that they're going to use the Diddy tapes to control the celebrities?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have Eminem endorsing Kamala and this person and that person.
Yeah.
And now...
Well, they're all shitting themselves now.
Leonardo DiCaprio's house burns down. Like, I don't know, man. It's too much.
Yeah, like most of the friggin' these people's houses just burnt down, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, something's not
but a lot of them have 4 homes. So like, is it really? I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel with the
I was watching this. Your mic sounds horrible, dude. I was watching a video and they were showing like each celebrity and like their house and how much their house costs and it's burnt down. And it just shows you like Tom Hanks, like 20 million, blah, 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 10 million, 50 million, all these houses, like, you know, so many million. And then it was funny because right at the end, they showed a homeless dude standing next to a place where his tent used to be. And it just said zero. It just said zero, but he still lost exactly the same as everybody else on this list. I thought, but it's true, isn't it? It doesn't matter how much money you've got, dude. If you lose your home, no matter how much it costs, it's your home. If you lose all of your possessions, no matter what they are, whether it's, all of your worldly possessions happen to be a fucking sleeping bag and a pillow, or, you're lucky enough to live in a $30 million mansion.
But to me, if my shit burns down, like, I lose fucking, like, unimaginable amounts of money in trading cards that will never, ever be able to be insured. You can't insure that shit, which sucks.
What I'm saying is, like, doesn't matter what shit you've got. If everything burns down, everybody loses the same. Do you know what I mean? Everybody's put back in the same position. If
we don't lose, not everybody.
Listen, dude. If all of the fresh drinking water in all of the world suddenly dries up, every man is equal.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter what you've got, unless you've
got. If the American dollar is worth shit tomorrow, guess what? We're all worth equal.
I'll tell you what. If this dude had got back in, you guarantee you by the end of January, the American dollar would have been worth shit.
Oh yeah.
But I think, since Trump got elected, you can already see it. My crypto's rocketed.
Because Trump's a fucking businessman. This is why fucking I voted for him. Because America's a business. People don't realize that, but yet every single thing they talk about is what? Money, money, money. Business,
running the country is a business. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Like, running the country should be seen as a business because you've got incoming money and you've got outgoing money.
Yeah, and they wanted to run on like unity and holding hands, like that shit has fucking worked for the past 4 years.
I mean, how can you possibly be trillions and trillions of dollars in debt and then borrow more money? Like, you imagine that, dude. You go to the bank, if you owe the bank, say, $1,000.
We take it, bro. That's the craziest part.
It's dumb. It's like, if you can't afford to pay your mortgage, then they're going to come and repo your house,
So it's
can't afford to pay for your car, they're going to come and repo it. They're not just going to say, here, have some more money, borrow some more money.
So in reality, the American dollar is like a meme coin. Because what do they do with coins? They just create more of them, right?
Exactly.
we just print more.
But that's what they do, and that's the problem. That's why the value of the dollar has reduced so much, because the more money you print reduces the amount of what the dollar's worth, because there's more of them. Things like Bitcoin, because there's a limit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The price of a Bitcoin will always go up, because you can't. The owner of Bitcoin can't just suddenly say, "Oh yeah, we need some more Bitcoin. Let's just produce some more." It doesn't work like that.
Exactly. But yeah, we're like, we're in debt 5 trillion. Let's print 7 trillion.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you're also then, how do you justify sending billions or trillions probably over the last 4 years?
You don't.
To other countries. How does that even for a minute balance the books? What countries send you money?
None.
Exactly. But yet you're in debt. You've got people that live in poverty. You've got homeless issues. You've got drug issues. You've got the same issues in your country as every other country in the world that you send money to, because you say that those people are living in poverty.
Yeah, but other countries actually spend money on their people. We spend money on other countries.
Yeah, but you take it from your people.
Yeah.
And expect them to like it. They take it from you. Every time you go out and bust your ass for an hour and try to earn a living, they take that away from you. And they want to send it to a different country and tell you need to be grateful.
Even when you go to the fucking grocery store and go buy gas, they take it from you. Even when you fucking are paying for this shit, they're taking it from you. They're taking tax, 6%.
Dude,
it's not even working, bro.
You go to work, right? Say the employer says to you, this job pays, I don't know, $20 an hour, right?
Yeah, which is really like 11.
Yeah, exactly. This is the point, isn't it? So you say, okay, fine, $20 an hour. In your head, you work that out of what it is a week or a month, and you think, yeah, I can live on that. But then that $20 an hour, once you get paid at the end of the month, you lose all of, I don't know, a huge percentage in tax for a start.
About 40 something percent.
So they tax you on that. So yeah, you're left with what, around probably, I don't know, $15 an hour, something like that. $14 an hour.
Absolutely not. Around $12.
Okay, so you take your $12.
You got to add in because you got to add in taxes, and I mean if you're working, you got to add in your insurance. So maybe even less. That's why I said $11.
Okay.
Add on top of 6%, you have to pay if you're going to spend that money. You know.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. So let's just say you bust your ass for a whole week, right? You don't leave work. You bust your ass the whole week. You're there. The guy at the end of the week, your boss, gives you your money, your salary. Now he works out that okay, you're on $20 an hour, but I need to take so much tax, so much insurance out of that. Here is your remainder. It works out $11 an hour, right? Yeah. Right. So you now have $11 for, the 50 hours you've just worked. So you've got $550, something like that, right? You walk out, you jump in your car, you think, oh shit, I need some gas. You go to the gas station, you fill up, you pay tax again on that. Yep. You're already paying tax and insurance on your car to even drive your car on the road.
Yep.
Correct?
Property tax, yep.
Yeah. While you're in the fuel station putting your gas in, you think, oh, actually, I could do with a drink and maybe I'll just grab a snack. So you're also going to pay tax on that shit. It's ridiculous, dude. It's never ending. It's like they give you some hope of here's some money, but by the time you get home, you've spent it all.
But here's the craziest part about that all. All that was made up by people, man, whoever the fuck it was, a bunch of old guys that sat down in a room and calculated how they were going to do all this to fucking us. We sit here and take it. Who the fuck created this? Who says we have to pay tax? Who says?
Well,
who says?
It started a long, long time ago, tax.
We just take it. We take it in the ass.
Some people won't like it, but tax was introduced by the Catholic Church when they started dividing lands up when back in the olden days when bows and arrows and swords were a thing, and they used to tax the landowners, tax the workers, and then it turned into this whole this whole thing of if you basically exist on this planet, you have to find a way somehow of paying to exist on this planet, even though you didn't choose to be born. You're not given any choices in life. You are told, right, if you exist on this planet, you must pay us some money somehow. Yeah. You have to go find a job that you potentially fucking hate, break your body, break your mental health, because you have to pay us to be on this planet, even though you never decided that, to be on this planet in the first place.
Like tomorrow, I can't take my daughter, put her in a car, go out somewhere in Pennsylvania where there's hundreds and hundreds of miles of just fucking land that's unoccupied that nobody's going to touch for probably the next couple thousand years. Build a little fucking, wooden log cabin, live off the land, They would come out there and fucking burn it down and fucking arrest me.
Yeah, and they would say you'd get fines and all sorts of shit.
But yet I'm an American citizen, all this shit. But yet I can't go and fucking just not follow this little hamster wheel that you created. Fuck you.
It's none of our choice to be put on this hamster wheel. None of us chose it. None of us chose to be born. Do you know what I mean?
I'm talking to you at fucking 1:54 in the afternoon and not fucking at a factory busting my dick for 12 hours because I've been there, bro.
It's like, well, that's not a life, is it? That's just the operation of a machine.
I lasted 6 months.
We're not machines. We're not machines. We're not meant to be penned in like animals and perform menial tasks.
But like my dad, he's perfectly fucking fine with working 60, 70 hours a week at 50 something years old because he can't sit around and do nothing. So he likes, there's people out there that like to, they like to work. They like to, whatever the fuck they're doing.
But that's a different thing. It depends what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, he's a master plumber. He breaks his fucking back, dude. Like so many surgeries.
But he enjoys it and he's doing it for himself. He's not doing it for somebody else. You know what I mean? The way he looks at it, he's doing it for himself. And that's a different thing. It's like he chooses that.
So like when me and him have a conversation about like money and like what I do and stuff, it doesn't resonate in his mind. Like like no matter what, no matter how much money I make, it'll never resonate in his mind what the fuck I do, because it's like, you know, this is how you make money. You got to work this. It's like, no, dude, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, but
yeah,
you know,
it's I don't know. It's like I've always had this thing inside of me that like has always just wanted to walk. Do you know what I mean? Like this planet, it shouldn't have any like. We shouldn't have any restrictions. We're just a being on this sphere. Should be able to just walk around it and like, you know what I mean?
But at one point there was no restrictions. Like in the fucking let's pick a time here. I don't know, the Wild West, right? The Wild West. You fucking, you know, run around and do what you wanted. Okay, you might get caught 5 years down the line and shit, but fucking, you know, you wanted to go out in the middle of nowhere and build a fucking cabin and live and shit like that. Nobody really bothered you.
Well, up until recently, you could still do that kind of shit in America. You could go to places like Alaska and that and build, you know, homesteads.
Yeah.
But now they're clamping down on all that kind of shit.
Exactly.
And it's like people have been doing that to seek their freedoms for forever. That was the whole point of America. When people landed, you know, they went off into the wild and staked their claims. That's how it all started.
It's stolen land anyway.
Exactly. You stole it off, like... You stole it off the Indians. I'm going to say Indians because that's what they are known as.
And we're not even using fucking half of it.
No, nor are they.
Exactly. Like that's, I mean, Pennsylvania is like 80% unfucking occupied.
Yeah, but you can't occupy it. This is the thing. It's like you just said, you can't occupy it. Who makes that choice?
I don't
You can
know.
apply to the government and say, oh, I'd like to build a house out on this piece of land. Can I? And they say, yeah, of course you can. You can buy the land from us, and then you have to apply for some planning permission, which is going to cost you this much. And then, you know what I mean? So in the end, you're not escaping from the government. You're asking their permission to live on a piece of land somewhere, which they'll agree to as long as you pay them money.
Yeah.
It's dumb. They don't own it. Who owns it? You own it. The American people own it.
Exactly. Who fought the fucking war?
Not a government. That government, you know, is only supposed to be in power for like 4 to 6 years. You have a president for 4 years and a senate for 6 years. It's like none of those people own the land. None of them. You do. You just give them, you know, permission to look after it.
We went to war over like 2% tax, and now people are taking it in the ass getting like 50% tax. That's wild to me, dude.
Well,
we had more balls back in the day than we do now.
Yeah. And, you know, look, I understand taxes, okay? But it should be basic. It should be like people pay into this big pot, which then that money in the pot is used to take care of like infrastructure, hospitals, police stations. That's what the money you should pay for, not, you know, sending $50 billion to Ukraine without even being asked if you want to do that, you know?
Fund killing? That's what we've been doing.
You fund killing in different countries, funding wars and changing governments in different countries. So what's American about that?
We tax people to kill people. That's real nice.
Yeah, and then you tax people and then send their kids off to kill people.
Yeah,
and then you tax them while they're off killing people.
And then won't even serve them a drink at a bar. Who the fuck do we think we are?
It's dumb, dude. It's
And then they wonder why
soldiers out there, like, you know, that
that's the numbers are
sniper.
down.
Dude, that sniper that's been sat out in his sniper nest, taking out the bad guy, you know, sat there in his own shit for like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole time he's getting paid by the government, but he's getting taxed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like he'd be saving the world and some motherfucker's gonna tax it.
Well, not even that. Like, you have to be afraid of like coming back and getting charged with like this or that when like they expect you to like make all these fucking decisions last second in the middle of battle. Like, fuck you, dude.
That's basically what Hexef was saying the other day. It's like some decisions that can't be made from, you know, 2,500 miles away. It's like the guy sat there behind a sniper rifle with a shot to take, and those are his orders, he's like, what's he meant to do? Think, well, actually, the guy's dressed in drag, I better not shoot him. It. Because otherwise I'll be like, sent to Guantanamo Bay for killing a trans person.
Guantanamo Bay.
Not that you get any trans people in like the Middle East, because it's only really, to be honest, it's mainly the USA that you've got all of this colourful stuff going on. I know we have it in this country, but it's not really it.
I wouldn't allow gays in the military.
There's nothing. Look, I have no.
Because they have
against gay people doing whatever. I just think that
switching sides.
I just, I'm reluctant to agree that people should have surgery paid for if they're in the military to have their biological sex somehow magically changed, which, by the way, can't be done with any kind of operation. If you're born a man, you're always a man. If you're born a woman, you're always going to be a woman, no matter what you do.
Exactly. You can tap it with a hammer, and it ain't going to change.
Exactly. Because unfortunately, you can't trans your brain.
You can't have a kid. You can't have a kid. You can fucking cut your dick off. You can fucking put tits on you. You can put a wig on, put a dress on, but you can't have a fucking kid. So guess what? You're a dude.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
And it's like, you shouldn't join the military just so the military can pay for you to have an operation to have your dick cut off and a tit implant, That's just wrong.
And then regret it 2 years later.
Yeah, and exactly, which many do, especially when they're forced into it as kids.
Do you know how many fucking people are gonna? Well, do you know how many people are gonna regret getting this shit done in about, I'm gonna say, a month, when fucking nobody gives a fuck about holding back on these people when they come up and think they're like, I have a right to be in your face. You can't do shit. No, these people are gonna start getting knocked the fuck out, and nobody's gonna care, dude. Like, I'm telling you, that's how it should be. All these fucking blue-haired rainbow people that fucking run around screaming at people's faces, barking and shit like that. They're the scum of the earth.
I think there was a big point missed in that Pete Hegseth confirmation, because they're all getting at him about women in combat roles, and women in like special forces and all that kind of stuff. And it's not like what he's saying is that the tests that they have to go through to get into those positions, the standard has been lowered for women. So they're not entering at the same level, but then they expect them to be able to carry an M40 LMG like miles and miles and miles across deserts. It's just not. It's ridiculous, It's got to be in context. Everyone should be given a chance. And look, if there's a woman out there that can do exactly the same thing, can pass the same tests, then yeah, they should be able to do it. But it should be one level of test for everybody, not a harder level for a guy, and then an easier level for a woman or a trans person.
Exactly.
Because then those standards are much, much lower.
Yeah.
And it's like, for one, it's not fair on the guys that you serve it with. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to get through into these
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry,
but it should be one standard.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if I get in a pinch and I dial 911, it's just me. Yeah. I want fucking a couple of the dudes showing up to help out.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying like women can't or shouldn't do this stuff. All I'm saying is, if they want to, then they need to be able to do it at the same level and the same standard as men and women were expected to before. That's the reason why women before weren't put in these positions. It's because they couldn't get past the...
Yeah, which is fine.
Exactly. It's like they're built different. It's how we are, every...
In biology that fucking we're trying to rewrite here. Stop.
Yeah, exactly. And you just can't do it
Men
like
and
that.
women's sports. Like, what the fuck?
The fix for that is not to lower the standards for half of the people applying, or to immediately accept people because they identify as a trans person. That shouldn't give them extra kudos over some white dude that's busted his ass his whole life and wants to be a soldier and is more than capable. Why should somebody jump in front of him because they identify as transgender? It's like, but that's what it's come to now in the military. And, I am talking from a place of knowledge. I got friends that have served in the military and their kids are currently serving in the military. And we talk about this stuff,
Yeah.
It's like, and they agree, look, there's some hard-ass women out there in the world that definitely should be given a shot, and they can take these tasks and they can do like the stuff they need to do to pass the test 100%. He said, but there's some out there that just, they do it to try and prove a point, as in, like, I'm a purple-haired fairy, you have to let me in, and I'm going to prove that I'm going to make a fool of the military by showing you that you have to allow me to be a soldier. It's hard to explain, but it's just,
but this is why. But like I said, this is why marriages and shit worked back in the day, and they don't work today. Because today you have two forces that are competing against each other. Where back in the day, it was understood. I'm going to go out. I'm going to work. I'm going to provide for the family. You're going to stay home with the kids. The house life. I'm going to take care of the work life. You take care of the house life, and that combined, and everything was all right. And if something was broken, you fixed it. Now something fucking chips off, and they throw the whole fucking marriage away with like 2-3 kids, and they fucking move on and move on and move on, and now they have 6 kids, and they're bitching that they can't find the right man. Or can't find a right woman. Come on, bro.
All of that comes from, not just a recent generational thing. It comes from like history since the beginning of mankind. When we lived in fucking caves, the men would go out and hunt, because they were brutal. They were like, the men were the strong, brutal, physical. We go out, we hunt, we kill. The woman, stayed at home in the cave, looked after the young ones, prepared the meals, all of that kind of stuff. And that was in place literally up until about, 20 years ago? It's only literally been in the last 20 to 30 years that lifestyle, that look on life has completely changed.
Exactly. Now it's like,
Now there is no such thing as that family unit. Or
now look at like a profile, it's like, oh, I'm a boss bitch. I take care of my own. Like, yo, chill out, bro. It's not what. That's not.
It doesn't. But there's a reason why things were the same for so long, and that's because it works, and it's the only way it can work. The only way it can work is for a man and a woman to have sex and to produce a baby, which the woman carries and gives birth to. The woman is always, from birth, much closer to the baby. That was always nurtured more in the past. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
of course,
the man would work and provide for his family. The woman would work as hard, if not harder, at home. Do you know what I mean? Like keeping the kids, the house clean, everything. It's like, it was still equal. I think men and women still worked equally as hard. And to be honest with you, looking after kids and the house and all of that kind of stuff is probably harder than some of the jobs these guys did.
Exactly, it is.
You're a single guy. You know what it's like, do you?
I have to do both.
Exactly, but like, there's no way you could go out and have a career.
No,
and do what you do.
I had to quit fucking. Dude, I had to quit at 3,000, 100,000, dude, 300 grand a year. I had to walk away because I didn't see my kid.
Yeah.
It was pre-care, and then daycare, and then nanny, and then fucking I get home at 9, 10 o'clock at night to put her to bed, and then get up at 6:30 to do it all over again. Never get to see her dad. That's the kind of life that I was going to give my child just so I could have money. Bro. So I found a way to make a decent living and still be there for my child.
Yeah. And obviously your circumstances are different.
Mate.
But what I mean is, like, relationship wise, that was, it was different. But we're talking about, so take your situation back 30 or 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I wonder,
a woman would have, if you were looking to date now in your situation 30 or 40 years ago, you'd be attracting a completely different type of woman.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why
you'd be attracting the type of woman that would want to settle down and be a housewife.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they can see
but you
you're a
don't find that
successful
today.
guy. No, of course you don't. Now you would get a woman looking at you like you're a scumbag because you're a single parent.
Exactly.
And you can't earn a shitload of money by being a single parent.
You're goddamn
So they
right.
look at you as if like, you know, you're a piece of shit. And because they can earn more money than you on OnlyFans.
Exactly. You just fucking got it.
Exactly, dude. It's like we live in the worst time as far as I'm concerned. You know, I used to look at my grandparents and I used to think how good life was for them. No matter, like, it was so difficult.
Who gives a fuck if they didn't have phones? Like we're just like, oh, our lives are so much better because we have cable and phones and
it's
fucking
bullshit. Do you know what?
Fuck that shit.
No, because they did real life things. You know what I mean? My nan and granddad, they lived through a war. They both worked hard. They had a huge allotment, a garden. It's like, you know, a TV and a telephone would be a distraction.
They appreciated not just the small shit, but everybody appreciated what the fuck was going on in front of them, bro. Nobody cares about what they're doing in front of them anymore. Like, did you just do what you're doing in front of you to get to your phone, to get on this fucking fake world where people think they have all this fucking meaning in? Where this is the world you should have meaning in. Fuck everybody else's opinion. Yourself. That should be the only person that cares about your life.
Because at the end of the day, really, the only person you've got is yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're lying there on your deathbed and you're about to take your last breath, the only motherfucker you've got is yourself.
I mean, there's people around you. Have people around you, but you know,
they're not there. I'm talking about inside your head. You know.
Yeah.
You got to be there for yourself. You got to be able to look after yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy looks like he shit himself in this picture I've frozen. Looks like he's literally just shat his pants.
What's up, Leslie?
It's a little short one, but.
Oh, fuck. I'm not introducing me, Mark is. So thank you all. God bless you all. Let's go lick the world. Let's get it done.
Let's go,
But I tell you
Lakers.
what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. Have a good time. Thank you. Thank
Did
you.
he really
Thank
say
you for
that?
your service from the bottom of my heart. Really. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he said that.
Oh, who am I giving this to?
We are a community that relies on family.
Nappy time.
On Ohana.
Middle class was built by the middle class, and the unions.
Presidents aren't supposed to show weakness, and this guy showed the most weakness I've ever seen ever.
It's kind of sad because he is literally just a senile old man.
Well, then don't fucking run for president then, old man.
America, LLJ, Cool J.
He knew what he was doing.
You could say even this harder than getting a ticket to the Renaissance tour or
what now?
Rip Whitney's tour. She's down in.
What?
It's kind of warm in Brazil.
She couldn't pull shit,
And by the
Carla.
way, with other movies she's earned a Golden Globe and a Primetime Emmy. That's me.
What?
Now that we are back together here in Cambodia, I look forward to building even stronger progress than we've already made. And I want to thank the Prime Minister for Colombia's leadership in the ASEAN chair.
And to say to President Biden, can you hear me, President Biden? This is a historical moment for Brazil and for the U.S. President Biden, can you hear me? You can? Yes, good.
Well, we're going to win and we're going to help. We have plans to build a railroad from the Pacific all the way across the Indian Ocean. Talked about making sure that the third world, the Southern Hemisphere had access to change it, had access. It wasn't confrontational at all.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's kind of sad, really, isn't it? Hey, take it.
No, it's not fucking sad. Fucking reality.
Should be tucked up in his Jimmy Jams. Like.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Sad these people voting for it.
Happy birthday, dear
Yeah, they got paid.
Happy birthday to you.
I don't care.
Instead of cutting them, or
They got paid to vote for
Trump and
I don't care.
want to do. President Harris is there to make sure we do
Don't
this the
fucking
right
fault.
way. Leading
Those same people that voted for him are bitching that their fucking house is burning down.
Anthropic. And I'm going to
They're
mispronounce.
like Daddy Trump to give him money.
I'm not going to even try. More than half the women in my cabinet, more than half the people in my cabinet, more than half of the women in my administration are women. 68 times.
More than half the women in this cabinet are women.
More than
Actually, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It's sad, but in 2020,
All right. God save the Queen, man.
God save the Queen. Wow, what a gem.
On the,
Tell me one thing that Trump will do for us. I can tell you something he did about fucking a couple hours ago. He's not even president yet. What the fuck? I love people who act like they like weren't alive for 4 years when Trump was president. It's like, what do you mean? I was underground for 4 years. What? You lived in the same motherfucking reality and society that I lived in under Trump. And you're going to tell me these last 4 years were better in your life? That's how fucking blind people fucking are to their ego? God, help me.
I get that, you know.
I fucking talk shit on Trump. I was the one like he's crazy for saying COVID's fake. He's an asshole for saying I was against him. And then I sat back and realized, they just don't like him because he's right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was the same when I first saw it. I was like, this got to be a joke. No way, this dude's going to be like president.
Exactly. I'm not this big fucking Trumper like, oh, you can do no wrong, this, that, and third. No. If the Democrats came with something fucking right, we could talk. But you come with Kamala? Could you imagine if she won right now? Where the fuck would we be at? You think there'd be any kind of peace talks in Israel and Gaza right now?
Yeah.
No. She said over $500 billion tomorrow. Come on, man. What the fuck is wrong with people? So what is Willie want? I just told you, Leslie. I just told you.
Harris made history today as the first female, Black, and South Asian to reach the second highest political
There's
office
a ceasefire going on for a reason in a fucking place that's been at war since October 7th of what year? Because Hamas realized U.S. has a fucking weak leader that didn't do shit. Saying what the fuck did Trump do? He said, bring our fucking hostages home, we're going to fuck you up. That's what he did.
3% white.
That's exactly what he did.
We're seeing the most LGBTQ cabinet level
He ain't a
members as
pussy.
well, with 3 identifying as gay or transgender. Romney Smith takes a look
Fucking
at
want
the
this
administration.
country run by pussies. I don't understand, dude.
President Biden has tapped 3 high-level
It's all
federal
fucking hold
employees
hands
who
and
are
say
also
kumbaya while we all
Pete
fucking get
Buttigieg
blown
will
up.
become
So
the
it's
Education
just
Secretary.
token.
Dr. Rachel Levine will become the Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, and Sean Skelly on the Department of Defense Transition Team. Diversity consultant Chichi Nkemeri says this is progress.
But we're all trained.
To these positions without being tokenized. You can be elevated to these
Oh,
positions.
okay, Leslie.
Other
Who did?
people,
Trump, Biden?
allies, advocates, accomplices will also notice your good works.
What did they do? Hear his fucking farewell speech and say, we have to stop fighting.
Phyllis Harris with LGBT Cleveland says it will
Get outta
have
here.
a big impact on young people.
Stop. Turn off CNN, Leslie. Turn that shit off. CNN's lying to you.
Some of my friends in real life believe the same stuff, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Some of my real friends,
it has to be the news station they watch, bro. It has to fucking be.
and it's the people that they surround themselves with. It's like one of the carers that cares for mother starts like going off on one about the far right and all this crap, and I'm like, look, you're talking to the wrong person about this. Do you know what I mean? She's like started banging on about stuff that she obviously didn't really have a clue about. It was just the general talking points. And it's sad to me that it's just talking points. They don't actually take the time to listen.
Yeah, okay, Leslie.
Mr. President, it's 4 days until President Trump will be
There's a reason why you're going to
inaugurated for
back
the
out right
second
now.
time as President of the United
Biden took
States. That
fucking
means we only
credit for
have
it.
4 more days
It's not like, oh
of
yeah,
President Biden's absentee leadership.
I'm not going to stop fighting now.
But he seems to be making the most of his final days as he goes out the door. And he
needs to shut
certainly
up.
isn't letting it kick him on the way out. I think the most egregious example of the abuse of power, really, that President Biden is engaged in now that the election's over and he doesn't have to stand for a vote among the American people. So he pretty much has given him a thumb in the eye.
Yep.
Perhaps one of the most egregious examples of this was his pardon of his son Hunter on December the 1st of last year. Despite numerous efforts by the FBI and DOJ to protect
Could you imagine if Trump
Hunter
pardoned
Biden
fucking
for the accountability for his crimes, President Biden
losing their minds?
decided to attack his own Department of Justice and say his son was selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Well, it's hard to imagine someone thinking that.
I think Netanyahu's already said that they're not signing that agreement. Oh.
Now why is that?
Well, because I don't know. They've got to have a discussion about it. I mean, I might be wrong. I might have already sorted it out because I haven't really looked. But basically, I know that a lot of the people in Israel weren't actually happy with,
Well, Hamas is going back on their terms. I saw a few hours ago.
Yeah, I'll have a look in a second.
They went
That's
like
all
terrorist
educators.
release this shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's all right. Listen, in 4 days, listen, Hamas knows in 4 days they're fucked. They're fucked.
Yeah. Well,
So I can care less.
It's not just about Hamas, is it? It's about like Israel, Iran supporting them, paying them money, sending them arms, and also trying to build nuclear weapons.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, look, let's do that.
See,
Continue.
they're still fighting, yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. They haven't agreed anything. There's a potential agreement, and I think they tried to push it through, but I think Netanyahu and his cabinet and the people in Israel saying we're not really happy with these terms. But we'll see. I will have a look at that later on this channel.
But it's progress, bro. It's better than it's been fucking with this jackass.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's progress. Look, the problem is that America has always said that they stand by Israel, no matter what. And then when it came to it, America was a bit like, well, actually, we're not too sure now.
Yeah.
But what it shows is that without Israel and their special forces keeping tabs on Hamas, it's very, very difficult for anyone to contain them. And it's like Israel is right on the front line. If you look at where Israel is on the map, they are literally fighting on every front against terrorists that, it doesn't matter what religion you are, they're fighting against people who openly shout with their AK-47s in their arms, death to America. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's a difficult one. We will look into it more. Like I say, I'm more interested in all of this stuff than a lot of people even bother. They look at the headlines and don't really understand what's behind it.
No,
that's frightening to me. It's like,
yeah, nobody understands nothing until they see a flash, and all of a sudden now they have to fucking comprehend what's going on, and that's the worst time.
What will it take? Will it take like another 9/11 for people to?
Absolutely.
But do you realise that it would be easier today to do something like 9/11 than it was back then?
Dude, do you know how like together the United States felt like after fucking 9/11? Like I can't explain it, bro. Like everybody came together. It was crazy, But it shouldn't take that. It shouldn't fucking take 3,000-4,000 people and fucking 2 buildings and all that destruction to happen and wars to come together. Like It should just fucking happen. But we can't make it happen because you have two sides that hate each other, and they don't give a fuck about the American people. That's just how it's been.
Yeah.
Look at all of our major cities, bro. They're all shot.
I get it, right? And the problem is that you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into this, because then you could say, well, if America never got involved in the first place in any of this shit, stayed the hell out of whatever's going on in the Middle East, because it doesn't really fucking affect you. You can say, like, oh, well, it does because the terrorists come here and kill us. But the terrorists only want to come there and kill you because you've been bombing the fuck out of their wives and children all the fucking time. Like, endlessly for centuries. Do you know what I mean? That's why they hate not just your country, but mine as well. It's not just because they hate you for the sake of hating you. They hate you for the amount of damage that you've done. Just because they have different religion, different culture, they live by different ways, you know, they treat their women differently. Who the fuck are we? Who the fuck are, like, any government, apart from their own, to say what they can and cannot do?
That's what I mean. Like, people are like, "Oh, why does they talk shit on Kim Jong-un and North Korea." Do you know what the fuck the Americans did in Korea? Like, people don't look at history anymore. They live in this fucking bubble where it's like, "Oh, this is how it's always been." No, motherfucker.
It's not that at all. And that's exactly my point. Is you've got to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's like, if America just stayed the fuck out of everybody else's business, and I'm just saying America because that's what we're talking about. My country is as bad, if not worse, if you go even further back in history.
But we make you guys bad, because without our backup, you guys wouldn't be as fucking brazen as you are.
We were bad before your country was even born.
How?
We colonized the whole fucking planet.
Okay, but today, with fucking swords and shit. But today, and fucking one-shooters. If shit happened today, if shit popped off today, and it was just you guys versus fucking whoever you want to pick, good luck. Good luck, dude.
Well, good luck to them. I mean, we've got pretty decent stuff, but it's not even the point that I'm trying to make. It's like, all I'm trying to say is, like, we should stay out of other people's business and how they run their countries. If you expect them to stay the fuck out of yours, then stay the fuck out of theirs. You know what I mean? It's like, if they want to live.
But there's a threshold there, though. There's a threshold, because, like, if you have fucking another what?
Look, dude, if somebody in
we should have let Hitler kill another 40 million fucking Jews.
No, Hitler declared war on other countries. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you know, Americans and people like that get involved in Iraq and Iran because of, you know, its oil and its commodities, and the fact that you don't like the way that they, you know, they practice their religion.
I don't give a fuck about all that.
That's not a reason to go bomb the shit.
That's why we went to Vietnam. That's why we went to Vietnam, because we're fucking stupid.
That's what you do all the time. That's what I'm saying. If you stayed out of this shit, one, you wouldn't have to spend so much money on fucking blowing people up. Do you know what I mean? Two, you wouldn't have so many fucking enemies out in the world. In a minute, all of these enemies are going to get together.
It's because war strengthens the economy.
Yeah, but all it's done this time is weaken it. Your war with Russia is totally fucked.
Because it's not our fucking war. Because it's not our war.
It's like, yeah.
How dumb this administration
is. Dumb. That's what I'm saying. It's dumb. None of these wars have got anything to do. Nobody has declared war against the United States of America or any of that shit. So it's like there's no war declared. Yet people want to blow up your country. Like I said, only because you've been doing that to them for so fucking long.
So it seems like we try to, like, push people to see how far we can push them until they do something. Then we're like, all right, so we can push this country this far, this country that far, this country this far. It's like, just chill out, man.
It's like Syria. Like what happened in Syria, right? I don't give a fuck about the politics side of it. What I'm saying is that government got overrun, literally by terrorists, and yet America and half the world is celebrating the fact that government's just been overturned, and they're helping in that to happen. Right? Yep. It's a coup. It's a coup by force. Now, if some motherfucker tried that in your country, there'd be all hell to play. You know what I mean? But it's, yeah, we'll celebrate that when we're doing it. in places like Syria or Afghanistan, because it's great when we do it because we're American. But it's like, yeah, the same goes for this country, dude. We just need to stay the fuck out. Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, is in Ukraine at the moment, signing over more of our blood
This
and
is what I
fucking
mean.
money.
We went to Iraq and killed 1 million fucking people, but yet we're gonna bitch at fucking Russia for wait. Didn't we do this? Oh, whatever. We are hypocrites, dude. A hypocritical nation.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if America and the UK and a lot of the European countries, not all, you know, a lot of the European countries just want to be left the fuck alone, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's okay
A lot of them
for us to
regret becoming part of the EU.
Yeah, it's
Look
okay
at
for
Greece.
us to
Greece
use a
is
nuke.
fucked.
But God forbid if fucking, you know, Putin felt threatened and he used a nuke. He's a dictator. But we dropped 2 nukes on fucking Japan and you know, we were considered heroes.
You're the only country ever to use a nuclear weapon against people.
Exactly.
Literally fried millions of fucking people.
No,
and destroyed their lands.
A couple 100,000 Rolex.
Whatever. It's like, why is it alright for you to do it? Like I say, well, you know, if Putin does it to say,
Well,
look, enough is enough, pack it in.
In all fairness, they should have fucking left Pearl Harbor alone, but that's their own fault.
Yeah, but they, see, again, dig into your history. You know, they allowed that to happen. The Americans allowed that to happen. The Americans and the British at the time knew it was going to happen.
Well, they shouldn't have took the bait then.
They allowed it to happen. That's how America got involved in the war.
Well, they should have realized, oh, well, if the Americans are letting us do this, maybe it's to fucking decimate us, which is exactly what happened. So that's their own fault.
No, they didn't realize the Americans were letting them do it. The British government and the American government knew it was going to happen.
But it still happened.
And did nothing about it because they knew
Japan
it would be a way they knew it would be a way of persuading the American people that you should get involved in World War II. That's why Pearl Harbor happened. 100%.
Pearl Harbor initiated the bombs being dropped on fucking...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It happened for a reason, but your government allowed your military personnel to get bombed. You allowed that to happen.
But here's my question. Why if Pearl Harbor was the straw that broke the camel's back, then if they attacked military, why are we dropping bombs on civilians?
Because you asked them to surrender, right?
Yeah. But they're too prideful to do that.
Exactly. And they said, no, we're not going to surrender. So then you drop one bomb on them. And basically then you said, are you ready to surrender now? And there was nothing. They didn't answer. It was basically a big fuck you. No. You know what I mean? Bring it. So that's when you dropped another one. And then obviously, you know,
they surrendered.
A lot of people died. Well, it didn't surrender, but they kind of just said, look, you know, stop. But yeah. But nothing's changed in the world, is it? We're still at these points. It's just the
was less than 100 years ago.
Changed. Yeah, I know. 80 years ago, dude.
Exactly.
Coming up to 80 years. That's
people that are older than that.
Yeah.
I swear, it's like people think this shit happened. Like you talk to some people, it's like they talk about this shit like it happened thousands of years ago. Like, dude, it was like fucking 80 years ago.
Exactly, but look how much the weaponry and shit's changed.
Not even a fucking century.
They have to, like, you know, you can fight a war from your fucking armchair now with a drone.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, you know what I mean? You had to, like, march fucking hundreds of miles across mud. Just to, like,
that's war, baby.
Shoot somebody with a rifle.
That's war, though. This shit today is fucking gay. Like, you're sitting there and all of a sudden a drone comes by you and blows you up. Come on, it's a fucking gay way to die.
Yeah, of course it is. It's like, you know,
I'd rather be fucking shot 3 times by a sniper and keep going and fucking take one more to the head. Fucking drone.
Be a hero.
Yeah, man.
Thing is with these drones, it's like they literally can come through your window and just blow up. You don't even like know if you're a target or anything.
Yeah,
scary shit.
I saw this one video, but it's weird that we watch it like it's a fucking video. Like they post it on YouTube like it's a fucking video game. But there's this one where a drone lands on a fucking on a tank, and it's just sitting there, and the camera is facing the hatch, and the dude opens the fucking hatch, and all of a sudden the drone goes fucking off. Because as soon as
dude, look on YouTube, right, at all these things coming out of the Russia-Ukraine thing.
Mhm.
All you will see is, right, every time Ukraine blows something up or kills somebody, it's all like celebration, right?
Yeah, it's like look at this.
It's like, yay, Ukraine just blew up this factory and killed like 1,000
Do you know
people
why that
in
is,
Russia.
though?
It's like, yay!
You
But
know
then
why
it's
that
like, if Russia does it, it's like, oh my god, Russia just like did this and one person died.
But do you know why it's reported like that? It's to make us feel more comfort of why we're sending them millions of dollars. Like, oh, okay, good. So we're sending them all this because so then now, oh look, they're winning. Oh, okay, let's send them more. Oh no, they're losing again. Let's send them more. That's why they do it, bro.
I'll tell you what, if anybody wants the truth, if they want to see the truth firsthand, right, I'll start a GoFundMe, and if I get to like, I don't know what, £5,000, I will buy a camera and I will drive to fucking Ukraine and film it. And I'll show you what it's really like over there, because it's not what you're seeing on YouTube. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, Russia's nice, dude.
Nobody wants to see like the real side of it. It pisses me off. Like I say on YouTube, you see it's all celebration. Like, you know, yeah, Ukraine just dropped a fucking drone on this tank and blew up these Russians, or they've like killed these North Koreans, and it's like, yeah, and we're supposed to celebrate that death. But when, you know, Russia kills somebody, it's like, look what the mean bastards did. See, they're just like, and it's like,
exactly. I don't like that shit.
Double
bro.
standards, dude. It's like you kill somebody, It doesn't matter.
Like when you hear the
what
reason, like when you
language
hear,
speak.
like when you hear the actual reason why Putin invaded Ukraine, you're like, oh,
yeah,
we would have done the same shit.
Exactly, you would. You can guarantee, but people not interested in that. All they understand, all they think they understand.
But Americans think that Putin woke up and said, "We're going to invade today, and we're going to take, and we're going to take that country." And that's what they kept saying. They kept saying, bro, on the news, he's not going to stop at Ukraine. He's not going to stop. He's only been focusing on one fucking country, Ukraine.
Yeah, and not even the whole country, dude. He's been like concentrating everything on the Donbass area,
Like
which
people
is
don't
Russian.
think, like people really, truly don't think that Russia could take Ukraine right now if they really wanted to. Are you kidding? Fucking me.
Yeah,
I think
if you listen to
the
me,
little money we send them would stop Russia if they came full force into Ukraine. Would stop them from taking. Yeah, my ass, dude.
Let me tell you, like, let's put this out there then, all right? What would be the worst thing that would happen as far as like retaliation or war if Putin dropped a fucking great nuke right in the center of Kiev?
If Putin dropped the nuke, if Putin dropped the nuke in Ukraine,
yeah,
and it's because Ukraine refuses to surrender,
yeah,
we did the same thing.
But the other thing is, there's no repercussions because one, Ukraine is not a nuclear country. Two, they're not part of the the United Nations or the EU or any of that stuff. They're not part of the Article fucking 5. So there's no written agreement that any other country would retaliate on their behalf with nuclear weapons. So my point is, going back to what you were saying, if people don't believe that Putin could wipe Ukraine off the map at any second, then they're delusional. There's a reason why he doesn't do that. He could, and he could do it without any kind of retaliation.
Yep.
Because if there's any kind of retaliation, that would then mean other countries declaring war on Russia, not the other way around.
Yep.
But he doesn't want to destroy Ukraine.
There's a reason why he's still in Ukraine. He's still there.
He wants the people in the part of Ukraine that is called the Donbass, and those areas in the southeast that are Russian territories. They are historically Russian territories. The people there are Russian. They speak Russian, but they got banned from being able to even speak their own fucking language.
That's like us losing, say, Texas and Arizona to Mexico. And then in, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years, we want to take that shit back. What? We're wrong for that?
Yeah.
Russia's wrong for wanting to take back the territory that was taken away from them. I'm sorry.
To protect its own people.
Get the fuck out of here.
You know, they're protecting their own people, Russian people. People don't understand how long, like, Ukraine has been bombing the shit out of that territory, trying to, like, cleanse it of Russians for centuries. It's like, it's not like you said. Putin didn't just wake up one morning and go, I think I'll bomb the shit out of that today.
Exactly.
This has been going on for a long, long time. It just got to the point where it's like, well, enough is enough, and now I can see that the UN is starting to back you, and I'm not having that. I'm not having you
I mean, he
on
put
my
shit on the
fucking
border,
doorstep.
right? I mean, he didn't just go in right away. He had shit lying on the border, and they were like,
Well,
all
he
right.
told them. He told them what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
So you think if he really wanted to take the whole country, that he would even warn anybody, or
Like I said, he has the capability. He's got the weapons. I mean, like Ukraine, he could drop a nuke in the center of Kiev. It would probably take less than 3 minutes to get there from Russia, and the war would be over.
Yeah, but like,
it'll be finished, done. But Ukraine will be ruined, and there's a lot of history there that is actually Russian.
But think about it. You're taking this many casualties. You're letting this many people die. Like, there's a reason why. It's because he has a goal. If he goes away from that goal and he could bomb the whole fucking country, and then what?
Exactly.
But so to me, that shows that. And I mean, to be honest, he's not a dictator. Because a dictator would have fucking. I mean, how long did it take fucking Hitler to? You know, Hitler started fucking taking this spot, this. I mean, he started trying to take he wanted to take over all of fucking Europe. This guy's just trying to take back what's his.
Yeah, but the thing is, Hitler outright declared war on everyone. Yeah. There's a difference. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just.
That's what I mean. That's a madman.
Yeah.
They're like, Putin's just as bad as Hitler. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Man, brainwashing is so easy today, dude.
Yeah,
it's so easy. It's scary. Because, like I said, if I had like my mom or dad come up here right now and we were asking, they'd have no idea what the fuck's going on, bro. Not a fucking clue what the hell we're talking about right now. Guarantee you. They live in a body.
Nor would most people, though.
Huh?
They talk to. I said, nor would most people. We don't talk like a lot of sense most of the time.
No, but
we just fucking rant about what's going on.
Yeah, but we are talking sense. That's the problem.
I know.
Because like I told you before, it's easier to fool somebody. It's easier to fool somebody than to convince somebody that somebody has fooled them or they've been fooled. Because as soon as somebody has something in their mind, now you have to, convince them that they were fooled. No, people are like, no. So they're stuck in their old ways.
I kind of agree with that, Tanko. I also think that, the people in control, the thing they think they possess, is basically just the power of we have more or we have bigger weapons than you. That's all it comes down to. It's like a game of poker.
Yeah.
Which is really scary. It's all about who's holding not even chess. It's more like poker because you're bluffing. Do you know what I mean? It's like nobody really knows what you've got. Nobody really knows what you've got. Nobody. You might declare that you've got 1,000 nuclear warheads, but you might have 2,000.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If I tell you
that's what I'm saying. That's why it's like poker. It's like
But that's not poker because I know that you at least, if you know I have to be holding less than a Jack 10, I know you're at least holding a fucking a Queen Jack because of what I know your minimum bombs you have are. So it's not really poker because you kind of know what your fucking opponents. You have a relatively idea of what they have. Now,
but then what you got to look at is not your opponent's cards or what your opponent's cards might be. It's what your opponent is prepared to do with those cards.
But that's not poker.
Of course it is. It's your opponent.
What do you mean? You can do one thing with your cards and lay it down. That's all you can do in poker. You lay down the 2 cards you get, boom, and that connects to the 5 that are on the board.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when he sat there and he's say he's got like a 4
That's why
and a
it's
fucking
chess,
9,
bro.
a 4 and a 9, and he's like,
Because chess, you have a timer. Chess, you
It's
have a
going all
pawn.
in.
Chess, you have a king, queen. You have a chess.
I don't know how to play chess.
I know, but me neither. But if you look at the board, it looks like an army against an army. You know?
I just think it's a power thing. It's all about chest puffing and saying like, you know, we've got more than you.
That's exactly what it is. A bunch of old men.
I'll push a button quicker than you would any day, sunshine. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's that kind of shit.
And they're all of them are a bunch of old fucking geezers.
Yeah, in a minute, it's like in a minute somebody's going to be like, well, okay, let's go. Take somebody like me to jump in there and be like, fuck this, let's just go. Press a button. I'll be pressing all the fucking buttons. Okay, there you go. Have it.
That's what I mean. Like, are we going to give, like, are people going to give Trump shit if he gets in office and he's like, you know, fucking Hamas has 5 American hostages? Fucking blow that motherfucking right here. Blow this area up here. Boom. And all of a sudden they send the hostages back. We're going to give him shit because he took action to get, no, fuck that, dude. We have been sitting here taking it for 4 years. Countries doing whatever the fuck they want. Whatever they want, dude. So expect shit to change. It's not going to stay the same because it shouldn't.
Let's see what else Biden's been doing in his last couple of days. This guy's good, John Corey.
Government agencies did everything they could to protect him from coming to justice. And thanks to a diligent and careful judge who was able to expose a sweetheart
John
deal
Cornyn.
that would have exonerated Hunter Biden previously. So he was convicted of illegally possessing a firearm, and he stood charged with massive tax fraud. President Biden said time and time again, I promise I'm not going to pardon him. And then he turned around and he did. But he didn't stop there. He used his last days in his office to go on a little pardon spree, granting clemency to 39 individuals, as well as commuting the sentences of convicted murderers on death row. These people were convicted of crimes ranging from conspiracy to commit wire fraud to, in a mortgage fraud scheme, to stealing government property, to signing false documents, bank theft, participating in income tax fraud, and a misuse of a Social Security number.
I know, they're all fucking old.
The truth is, these are not victimless crimes, and they're not the sort of occurrences we want to see happening more frequently. There's a reason why our criminal justice system provides for accountability.
Why should Hunter get away with it just because he's
in appropriate circumstances?
Joe's son, you know?
That's to set an example.
That's how it goes.
For others not to go
Imagine
down
if one of
that
Trump's
path.
kids did this.
If Trump pardoned his son, everybody would be fucking going nuts still.
Part of justice.
But everybody was like, oh, that's not right.
These
And then they moved on next day.
criminals were not the only people that got a last-minute gift from President Biden.
We are soft.
On January 4th, President Biden announced a list of 19 new recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This included George Soros.
That will always be a joke.
Hillary Clinton got one as well.
Soros, of course, is a billionaire philanthropist who's doled out billions of dollars to left-wing political causes, from defund the police movements to anti-Israel organizations, to those who promote open borders, such as we have experienced tragically over the last 4 years. Of course, these are the same policies that have caused so much suffering and frustration among the American people, which they voted on. I believe it was a referendum on November the 5th, voted to change the direction the country was headed in, because most Americans, according to public
like 5 minutes. I gotta go to the post
felt like
office.
America was on the
I'm not
wrong
going to be up here
path
for long anyway.
and needed a change of course. And now a key
I only
architect
jumped because
of that failed
I know he gave that
policy,
speech yesterday, but I
those
couldn't
failed
get on here.
policies, was
So.
awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Talk
I'm going to
about
do
devaluing
Friday night. I'm going to do like a
an award that's
true
supposed to be
crime
given
catch
for
up. Look at the
extraordinary
documents and shit.
service to the country.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll set
Of course,
a
I
thing.
support the rights of
And then I
individuals.
thought
to be
Saturday I'll
famous for
do
their
another
wealth.
one over here, but just
America's
one of those
one of the
random
most generous
third hour things where
countries
we
in the
just talk
world,
shit.
and I think it's
Get-
something we should be proud of.
get high and talk shit for a few hours.
Imagine how our colleagues on the other side of the aisle
Laugh
might
at some
act
stuff.
if Republicans honored a prominent conservative philanthropist.
So if you do it over here,
The
it's
media
like
or
on this channel, you can literally at the moment play anything, talk about anything, because it's not monetized. They don't strike you, it stays up.
Yeah.
So that's why I get away playing music and all that shit without getting it taken down. So it's like, it's way better to do that, like, other stuff over. I prefer it. I feel like I'm hiding over here from, like, the true crime loonies. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is like a little side room over here where it's like, talk about everything else that you can't talk about over there.
our Democratic colleagues would applaud it in the same way? No chance. Conservative philanthropists have been not only not given medals of freedom, they've been subjected to endless scrutiny, including politically motivated
I'll catch you tomorrow then. I'll
Democratic
I'm gonna hop
colleagues
down.
on the Judiciary Committee just last year.
Have a good one.
Now
See you
Democrats are
later.
awarding their
See you
own
later.
the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's like the hearing we had this morning on the Finance Committee. Scott Bessent, the next Secretary of Treasury, was there. We
I
had
see
to
there's a
listen
lot of docs,
to
Mishka,
the ranking member,
but I don't think they're on the actual
about why it is so
on the actual
important
website. Yeah, are they?
American taxpayers be exposed to a multi-trillion-dollar tax increase.
Got a hearing on the 21st.
Now, he said this was
closed
about
one.
tax cuts for the wealthy, but the fact of the matter is, and the nominee pointed this out, that the top 1% in the country pay the vast majority of income taxes. But the facts apparently are not all that important to our Democratic colleagues. President Biden wasn't finished rewarding his friends with grants of clemency and presidential honors before he left office. He also sent a parting gift to one of his favorite beneficiaries, which are radical climate activists. Now, I don't doubt that the climate's changing. I don't doubt humans have an impact on it. But to say this
Well,
is
actually, we
the
don't,
end-all,
but
be-all
that's another
of
story.
all of our policies to the detriment of our economy, job creation, and so many other important issues just strikes me as misguided. One of the consequences is that Americans have been suffering under high prices for energy under President Biden's presidency. Electricity prices have risen more than 30%. We know that these high prices are the direct result of President Biden's policies, which put climate activists in the front seat, while working families are left behind. But the president couldn't help himself from doing more damage on the way out the door. The day after Christmas, President Biden's Energy Department finalized new climate regulations that would functionally ban almost all natural gas-powered water heaters. Now, why would he do something like that? An analysis from the American Gas Association estimates that 40% of customers will be directly impacted by a rule with a net cost increase, since they'll be required to buy a new new electric water heater, excuse me. The AGA notes that the households affected are largely low income and senior citizens on a fixed income, who are more likely to choose a cost-effective water heater that will now be banned under the rule. Now, of course, if people want to buy a more expensive water heater with their own money, I've got no objection to that. I'm all for their freedom to do so. But to impose additional costs on seniors who have fixed incomes and other low-income families who are struggling to get by under the high prices and the 40-year high inflation under the Biden administration simply adds insult to injury. But President Biden didn't stop there. 2 weeks ago, the Biden administration gave the state of California to enforce zero-emission rules for lawnmowers and leaf blowers. Now, this may sound like a small thing, but it's emblematic of much bigger things, and it adds up. This rule would prohibit the sale of new equipment under 25 horsepower or 19 kilowatts that fail to achieve zero emissions? Is there no home appliance or device that's safe from this radical agenda? The Biden administration's targeted gas-powered cars, gas stoves, water heaters, and now they want to get after our lawn mowers and leaf blowers. As I've said before, I don't have any objection to anyone who wants to improve their carbon footprint, if that's important to them, by purchasing new low-emissions lawnmowers. God bless them if they want to do that. But for working families to have to deal with this mandate, who are just trying to keep up with inflation, a new lawnmower might not be in their budget. Well, suffice it to say, the Biden administration is working hard on the way out the door and wreaking havoc in the process. But, Mr. President, Republicans are taking note. We know that with President Trump being sworn into office next Monday, with new majorities in the House and the Senate, that things are going to change. The American people voted for change, and they're going to see a change away from these radical policies and special interest pieces of legislation or regulation that hurt the vast majority of Americans for the benefit of an ideological agenda. One of the tools we're going to be using is something called the Congressional Review Act. As the presiding officer knows, this is a powerful tool which allows a vote of Congress and a presidential signature to essentially veto an administrative agency rule. There is a time frame, I believe it's 60 legislative days, during which we can look back and essentially impose a legislative veto of that rule. Using this mechanism, Congress can review and rescind regulations that it disapproves of. Because, of course, many of these regulations, of course, are promulgated by administrative agencies that never have to stand for election. They never have to appeal to the voters. They never have to explain themselves to the voters. They just do what they do, which is create more and more red tape and regulation. So I'm glad we're going to be able to focus soon, after we confirm President Trump's cabinet, on Congressional Review Act regulatory disapprovals. I plan on introducing a few of these myself so we can reverse many of the Biden administration's misguided regulations. And I know other colleagues plan to do the same thing. So, Mr. President, President Biden may have been busy over the last 4 months, since the last few months since the November the 5th election, but we are gearing up to be even busier undoing much of the mischief that he has wrought during these last couple of months on his way out the door. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Bye-bye. So, yeah, there we go. That's Biden's farewell speech and a little bit of what's going on around it. I will be back here. I just say Saturday night, really, don't I? Yeah, Saturday night. Afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. Morning, night. Night for me. But I've already done a thumbnail, I'll set that up now. And we'll do a true crime on the True Crime channel on Friday night. And we'll just go over some of the new documents. And there's not a huge amount that we can actually read in them, but we can certainly comment on what other people are reading into them, because some people are way off. And it's quite funny, even people out there claiming to be like very professional about what they're doing seem to now be jumping on, you know, speculation trains with encouragement from Gonzo OG. So it's interesting just seeing what people are doing and panicking. Some people are panicking, like the turkeys panicking, and hombres getting angry with everyone and shouting at stuff. And yeah, all of that stuff's quite interesting. But as far as documents go, like I say, we'll have a look tomorrow, see what's available on the website, see what's behind, go over some of that stuff, look at some Karen Reid. Obviously her dog expert's been allowed, which is bizarre. And then yeah, we'll see what else has been going on. I suppose I better do something over on the other channel. Alright guys, well I'm going to go eat. Enjoy the rest of your days. Have fun. Stay out of trouble. Yeah. See you on the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye.